Saturday, and welcome to another episode of the 9 to 5 Casual.
And if you're just joining us, this is a platform where we discuss with entrepreneurs and young professionals on the rise.
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow all our social media, and remember, if you need to binge watch any of our episodes, we're available on all podcast platforms at the 9 to 5 Casuals.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, welcome back. It's been one whole week. Too long.
Yes. Anything interesting?
Happened over...
Nothing really.
We should have talked about this before we started.
I think we're being rude. Before we get into discussing what happened during the weekday, we have here two of San Antonio's best photographers.
All right.
I mean, she said it, not me.
I said it because I've seen your work. So yeah, we have two of San Antonio's best photographers.
Yeah.
We have here Luis Alvarez.
Hi.
Did I say your name
Hi,
right?
Luis.
Yes, you got it right.
And then we have Barry Luster.
Hi, Barry.
That sounds like a stage name.
I'm telling you, like a professional stage
Broadway.
name. Do you do magic? I'm just kidding.
No, I don't.
Yeah, so
Nice to meet you guys.
On the camera.
welcome
Nice
to
to
the
meet you
show.
guys.
So, like, how did you guys first meet?
The first time I met him, actually, I was actually driving in my car, and I seen him because I'm one of the only photographers in town. So I seen him. He was photographing. He had his own session, and I was like, "Well, he looks like he knows what he's doing. He looks pretty decent." So I think he had geotagged one of his photos locally on Instagram, and that's when his work popped up. So I checked him out.
And what made you want to work together? Like, what made you want to work with him?
Well, I've been working with Flash and other aspects of photography, and I needed somebody to kind of help me out, and so to me, I thought it'd be good to be like an exchange of information, kind of like a collaboration. He seems really serious about his work, so
Yeah.
I definitely had to jump on that train. So I reached out to him, and since I work full time, I was working full time at that time. Our schedules just never
Worked out.
Worked
worked
out.
out.
It was just weird.
It was just weird. So one day, finally, he just said, "Okay, I'm going to be off this day," and I was like, "Hey, I'm off this day. All right, let's make it happen." So we met in San Antonio, and we did our first shoot together, and it was pretty nice because I showed him, everything that I knew, and we exchanged that information. So, and ever since then, we've just been pretty tight like that. So
It's been a great collaboration.
And you said
Yeah.
this was you guys met in San Antonio, right?
So I was shooting in Seguin. That's where he kind of stays at. And I guess he was just driving by in Seguin, and I was kind of like in the middle of the street just shooting. And that's literally what it happened. He saw me in Seguin, and then he was like, "Hey, let's start working together. Let's make something happen." And then we met in San Antonio. We photographed in San Antonio, and then it's just ever since then. Like, I probably call this guy more than I call my girlfriend sometimes.
Oh no. So what's in Seguin, Barry? What's out there?
That's not where you're from, though?
No.
Yeah, you're from LA.
So Seguin is basically it's a small town. It's a small manufacturing town, about 20,000 people. It's growing, but it's not. It's growing pretty slow. It's not anywhere near like New Braunfels or any of the neighboring areas. So there's plenty of empty fields. There's plenty of different things. So if you're there's a lot of business-minded photographers that are out there that shoot, and they always shoot at the same areas.
Yeah.
So after studying, how they do things, I just realized that that's just something that I didn't want to go that route. So I started using areas that people normally wouldn't use to take photos, and it worked out for me because I don't really have to go around looking for locations. I can literally shoot next to a dumpster.
Gotcha.
You're very creative.
And create a work of art.
I'll make it work. So a lot of people haven't really grasped that idea. They always think they have to shoot where everybody else is shooting. So it kind of makes things boring pretty fast.
Yeah.
And Luis, you're from Guatemala, right?
Yeah,
Originally.
I'm from Guatemala.
How can you tell us about that journey to the U.S.?
Yeah, so it all started about 13 years ago. My father joined the Army. So the first location that we were stationed was in Fort Hood, Texas. We were there for, I want to say, about 2 years.
Okay.
I remember the first year I couldn't really speak English, so I had to learn the language.
Oh, wow.
I was there for 2 years, then I moved to Germany. And then from Germany, I went back to Washington State, Alabama, and then end up here in San Antonio.
How'd you develop a passion for photography?
It all started in Washington State. My senior year of high school, that's kind of like where I got into photography. The reason why I got into photography was because I went from being in the same high school for 3 years and then moving into a new high school the last year of my school year.
Got it.
And I was kind of like devastated that I had to go through all that, and it was just a lot going on. So I figured, why not just do something interesting? So I started doing photography, but believe it or not, the first 3 weeks of the school, the class, I hated. I just didn't like it because the the teacher would tell me, hey, just take pictures of the breaks or whatever was going on. And it was kind of
what
boring.
is this?
Yeah.
So I hated it. But one weekend he told me, hey, borrow this camera for the weekend, try it out and see what happens. And then I took it for the weekend. I went to Seattle with my cousin. We started photographing, and next thing you know, it's like, wow, this is a beautiful image. And ever since that, I just fell in love
And that's
with
how you learn how
photography.
to appreciate art. And did
Yeah.
you have any other interests before photography, or that was the main one you just honed on and it was like, this is my passion?
Honestly, I was a pretty athletic guy. I used to like running a lot and doing sports, but photography is just one of those things that, like, once I picked it up, it was like,
That's it.
that's it. This is what I like. This is what I want to do.
That's pretty cool.
So, well, that brings me to my next question. I don't know if you've already answered it, but like, what was it like the first time you actually picked up a camera, and what was some of the camera that you used at that time? I mean, because you had just started. I know that with photography, the cameras are really expensive. So, what was the first camera that you used?
The first camera I used was in like my school. It was the Nikon 5000. Super small camera, super simple, nothing crazy about it. And I started with that, and my parents saw how serious I was about photography. So that same Christmas, they bought me a new camera.
Oh,
It was just
cool.
a higher model, like a 5100. And I started with that. And then when I moved to Alabama, I stick with that camera. But then when I moved here to San Antonio, I transitioned into a different camera, which was like a D300, a little bit bigger, almost like a full frame, but not a full frame camera. And then I'm moving to a what I have right now, which is a Nikon D750, a full frame camera with more pixels, better quality, and that's what I've been using.
Barry, what about you? The same thing? Has photography always been your passion?
No. Actually, I started photography kind of late. I actually started it the last 3 years, about 3.5 years.
Wow, that's recent.
So when I first started, I actually bought a camera from the pawn shop. I think it was like a Rebel T3, because I wanted to take pictures like with my son and, stuff like that. So from there, I learned really quickly what cameras can and cannot do, so I upgraded really fast. I went from that camera to the Rebel T5 and then the Canon 5D Mark II, which I kept for like 2 years. And then now recently, I think since last year, I've changed over to the Sony A7 III.
Yeah.
Only because I spent a lot of my time learning the craft. So now I just pick up a camera where I can just point and shoot. I don't have to worry about composing and trying to figure out all the technical spots of the camera. It's comfortable. I pick it up, I point, I shoot. I just worry about what lens I put on and where my lights go.
Yeah.
So did y'all have like a lot of practicing with your family members? Because I remember you mentioned that your parents bought you a camera for Christmas because they saw that you were into photography, and then you got one because you wanted to take pictures of your son. So did y'all start off as just taking family pictures and friends for free, or just for a little bit of cash here and there until your work was top notch?
Huh? Do you want?
So when I started out. I started with some family, but not too much. Okay. I did struggle for a long time, but what really helped me a lot was in the local Facebook groups. There's a modeling group, for your city, either New Braunfels or whatever metropolitan area that you're at. So when I started practicing, I started reaching out to the folks there, and just, co-workers that have family members that want to do family photos. Definitely don't count them out because they will help you. Everybody likes getting, you could say free photos, but I mean,
I'm one of those people.
See, so whatever opportunity when you first start, whatever opportunities you get, take them. Yeah. And as you get better, you start to realize what you want and what you don't want out of this this hobby.
So the way I started was that the first thing I started shooting was more like nature. I started doing more like, taking a photo of the grass with the nice eyes. Actually, one of my photos was displayed at a hospital because it was picked out. So I started mainly doing nature when I was in Washington. And then when I moved to Alabama, that's when I realized that there's nothing going on in Alabama. So there was no point on me of trying to shoot nature. So I was like, yeah, this ain't going to work out for me. So I started reaching out to people, but nobody really wanted to work with me. So what I ended up doing was I signed up for different programs. Like one of the programs that we have was like a college program that help you out, but also we go to different trips. So I started going to these trips, and I started bringing my camera and started photographing the people around there. And then one day I saw this one girl that was like, wow, she's very photogenic. Let me ask her. And then she was like, yeah, let's do it. I'm actually trying to work on my portfolio, and I need a photographer. So she was kind of like one of those that was like, hey, she gave me the shot, she gave me the opportunity. And
are you still looking for that type of opportunity?
No, because before it was hard to get models, but now it's like I have to turn down a lot of people.
Oh man!
So it's like
now they have to take a number now. They have to take a number.
It's different now.
We met now they're picking the wrong time.
Yeah, you did.
Oh man, it's okay.
That's all right.
Okay.
But now that you guys are professionals at this, I follow your Instagram, so you guys have amazing pictures.
Thank you.
What's the biggest change you'd say you've made in camera gear and in technique in the past year?
Well, like when I had my 5D Mark II, you have focus points in the camera. So if you have an older camera, like the camera that I started with only had 9 focus points. So if you can imagine trying to compose an image and make sure that whatever subject or whatever part you want to be sharp is going to be sharp. Because if you take a picture, and I've done this probably thousands of times, I'll admit that. I will take a really nice photo, and when I go to check it out, when I import it onto my post-processing software, it's soft, it's focus, it's not in focus. So when you have such a low number of focus points, it really challenges you into learning how the camera really works. So then after a while, I just got tired of it. I said, you know what? I can't deal with this anymore. So when I upgraded, I was like, oh, this is easy. I can literally just point the camera at my subject and it'll lock on whatever I need to be focused on all parts of the frame. And I just shoot. And it's definitely helped me with my composition. Like if I see leading lines somewhere, if I see small details that I want to put on model or put, wherever it is that I'm photographing, it just makes it so much easier because I don't have to think about, oh, okay, well, let me hold my camera this way. If, when you're shooting like that really fast and you're shooting at like a wide aperture with a fast lens, you have to be careful because if you move, even just by pressing the shutter, you're going to throw the whole image out. And I've thrown away I've deleted so many images. It's work.
Yeah.
I've literally thrown away so many images that
could have been the one.
That could have been the one.
Really?
Yes.
Because you go see a photographer, take really nice pictures. I had no idea there's so many behind the scenes.
It's a lot that goes into it.
I'm just like, okay, he has a camera, he's taking my pictures, and I'm posting, I'm looking nice. But I had no idea that you guys have a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and do you guys prefer like certain like lighting? Like, do you prefer natural light versus like you have special kind of lighting that you use based on the scenario, the shot that you're taking?
Absolutely.
Well, when I first started, like I said, I had an older camera, so natural light photos weren't working for me.
Okay.
I couldn't. Not only that, it's just that I couldn't understand the fundamentals of using natural light. I had no idea what I was doing, so. I started picking up Flash, and I actually learned Flash. Now I'm starting to journey into natural light, but I've been using Flash since I started, so I have full control of all the light that is around me, even outside.
Yeah,
and
you
so
did it backwards.
yeah, I did it backwards.
Usually it's natural light first, and then you go into
Well, because
flash.
I saw like so many images out there from the photographers that I looked up to at the time, and I just couldn't understand why their photos looked so polished, and and then you put two and two together, and you're like, okay, well, let me understand how it works. So once you understand how flash works, and it's kind of like a code. If you break that code or you learn that code, you have full control of any lighting situation anywhere you go.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm learning natural light because sometimes, I don't feel like lugging around so much lighting equipment.
Extra work.
It's extra work.
Yeah.
So, and also as far as preference of light, I like my lights to be really close to my subject.
Okay.
So if I'm shooting, I want that light to be at least 2 feet away from the face, the upper body, whatever it is that I'm photographing. So I try to keep it as close as possible because it gives you this broad spectrum, gives you broad light, soft light on the face, and the ladies like nice soft highlights.
Oh yes.
I
like popping.
So we definitely we
like
definitely try to emphasize on that. We try to enhance or bring out certain features, of everybody, because everybody's unique.
Yeah.
The way he lights his subjects may not really work for me, but we exchange the fundamentals, the structure of lighting. So when we don't shoot together, he lights his subjects the way that he wants to light them, and I light them the way that I light them. And sometimes we'll bounce that information around. He'll say, "Hey, why did you light it like that?"
Yeah.
And I say, "Hey, well, it's because of this, or because of the person's facial structure or the feature, because you can't always just throw light at somebody."
Yeah.
Because it's you kind of have to look at the structure of the face,
I thought that.
the the
I
chin,
had no idea.
the
Yeah.
lines, also their outfits too.
Yeah.
Certain
Body composition.
yes,
too,
body
like
compositions,
size,
physique,
all that.
stuff is a determining factor on where you want to use your lights, because you can't use, like, for example, if you're shooting a regular portrait, you can't use glamour style lighting on just a regular portrait, because it doesn't work with the outfit. It doesn't work with, the colors. It may not even work with the background either. So you got to kind of just look around and before you shoot, you always look around. You look at the sun. You see the direction of the sun, where it's coming from. You also want to be mindful of where the sun is touching, where the sunlight, if the sun is setting and you want that nice, beautiful gold, sunset light on the shoulders or in the hair. These are things that you have to look out for, because so many people will go online and they'll see what other photographers are doing, and they want to replicate that.
But that's not.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, everybody's settings are different. So whenever you do that, you just have to, when you go out there, you just have to be mindful of everything around you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do you guys bump heads working together? Because women are very petty.
Oh, you guys
Let's not
constantly.
start
I know.
No,
We're not petty. Excuse you.
We don't bump heads, but what we do is we do a lot of trash talking.
Oh, yeah.
It's a whole.
You guys better not talk about us after this.
No. I'm talking about each other.
No, we never talk about the person.
I'm kidding.
No.
Because I was about, like, between you and me, it's like what's some of the things that we normally talk about?
we want to hear.
It's weird.
We'll get in the middle of the shoot, and he may notice that I'm just struggling that day.
Okay.
He's just like,
what's up?
he's like, you need to get it together, and I'm just like, I'm over there dropping stuff. I can't find anything. My shots are coming out bad, and he's just right.
Fun.
He's just
that's
right
fun.
over me, just just letting me have it. So
yeah, it does.
it's funny, but I think most of all, it breaks the ice with the model.
Yeah.
Because if you're in a situation, especially if you're a young lady and you're out here with these two photographers, and like, we don't know each other, she's probably super nervous.
Yeah.
It definitely helps, because it shows that we're not.
It's almost like we're not worried about you.
Yeah.
We're just kind of like doing our own thing.
Yeah.
So
We're
it's like you basically just looking at us making a fool of each other.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh yeah, we're just talking about each
Yeah.
other. Like,
Yeah.
that's cool.
I
They're
can
not
do
even
that.
worried about me. Like,
Yeah.
So we'll
it's
go
great.
out and we'll turn on the music, whatever the
You guys
model.
bring
Yeah.
music?
Yeah.
He brings the music,
And that's gonna make the
That's
model like
good, 'cause that
comfortable
will get you
too.
out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
and whatever the
I always
model
bring the
listens to.
speakers
Yeah, he
and
brings
they
it.
just play their music.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's
Very
awesome.
interesting.
It
Some
definitely
Nigerian music.
helps get them relaxed, and and they tell you every time at the end of the shoot, hey, you guys are great. Like I didn't think that you guys were gonna be this much fun because. A lot of the times you get these really serious guys that are just like, I'm here to
Turn
shoot.
this
Stand
way,
there.
Yeah.
stand there, do your hair this way. Like, come on
And
now.
and we
know.
do that, but we do it to
In
a
a
point
fun
where we're
way,
like,
right?
hey, on the next shot, we're gonna do it both ways just to see what works.
Yeah.
And so over the years, we've kind of managed to work. We basically mastered the dynamic of us working around each other. So I already know if he's gonna be setting up here, I'm gonna be over there. Setting up shots, we already know how we're gonna light them. We already know where we're gonna put them. Like it's already, we don't have to think about it too much anymore. So I think over the last year or so, we've definitely gotten more in tune with each other. So
That's good.
and even when we don't, because we also shoot when we're not together. We do our own projects here and there. And so we always try to we try to do it once or twice a month. We'll try to get together and we'll shoot something. But outside of that, we also make sure that we're on top of our game even when we're not shooting together.
Oh, yeah.
Because so many times you'll see a dynamic where they work together and they're really good when they work together. But then when you separate them, then you start seeing the differences in the work. So we always try to stay sharp. We always try to stay on top of our game when we're shooting and when we're not shooting together.
So you know how they say that the more you do something, the better you get at it. So do you guys constantly do other things to improve yourself to make you stand out? Because there's a lot of photographers,
Absolutely.
because sometimes looking for a photographer is hard. Jeez, I can't talk. So what are some other things you guys do? If you don't want to give out your secret recipe, that's fine. We'll understand.
No, what we do is we always try to incorporate different locations, a lot of different locations.
I'm big on locations.
He's big on locations. I'm really big on lighting.
Yeah.
So we'll make sure that if he looks at a location, he'll send a video to me, he'll send pictures of me, and already just by looking at what he's sending me, I already know how I'm gonna light it. So once I come up with unique lighting, a lot of the times people will ask me, how are you lighting them? How are you doing this? And I'm just like, hey, you can't always conform to what everybody else is doing. Sometimes you just got to get out there and wing it.
Yeah. Most of the time we wing it. We were talking earlier. You're probably gonna ask how do you guys plan things? We don't plan things. We just kind of go with the flow. I'll call him the day before and be like, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? And he'll be like, nothing really. Oh, okay, I'm off this day. Let's find somebody. Let's do this. I have this location. Let's make it happen. That's just how we do it. We don't really plan for a week or a month in advance because people don't really.
They don't follow through. So, and if you give them a long window, it takes them a while to make up their mind. So when they get to that last week or that last couple of days, we're assuming that, hey, it's locked in.
Yeah. We
don't have to find anybody. So when they either don't call or don't show up, or we basically
happens.
Yeah, and it happens. I'll get the vibe. I'll know right away if we're passing messages around each other. We basically know right away, hey, this person's gonna bail.
He'll let me know the day before.
Flake.
Yeah, she's not replying. It's been about 4 hours. Let's start looking for somebody else.
Wait, though, but don't you guys have some type of agreement that the
contract?
Yeah.
Well, sometimes it depends on the situation.
Yeah.
If we're just going back and forth and we're kind of just playing around with shoots and we're coming up with different concepts, we won't really do that. But if it's a paid gig or something, yes, you always have to have
absolutely anything that's paid.
So if it's just something we're just bouncing around each other and we're saying, hey, let's do this. Okay, well, we'll find a model and we'll just do it within that 2 or 3 days, so that either one, if they do follow through, we're good. We don't have to worry about it. If they don't follow through, we can just kind of
have a backup.
Yeah, kind of look through, see who we have, who can fill that spot, because setting up a shoot and getting all that stuff really it's not fun after a while, after you start dealing with no calls, no shows, people not showing up, or just people not responding. So it definitely, we always try to keep it short. And sometimes I could be at home watching TV and he's like, hey, let's go. What time? All right, yeah, I'll be there.
3 hours before, 4 hours before sometimes.
And we'll be there, and I feel like those work out the best.
Yeah, it's weird how it works. Don't even ask me. It just works.
So aside from that, have you guys faced any other challenges being a photographer in San Antonio?
With challenges, I would say, aside from the bailing and the no calls and the no shows, I would definitely say our peers.
Yeah.
Our peers have this thing where I don't know if it's just they have problems or they're just not really people persons. They're not really friendly. I was trying to break into the community and trying to get people together and trying to be like, hey, because I may not.
That's a good mindset.
I may not always be able to shoot something, but I know somebody who can.
Yeah.
And I would certainly like for somebody to share that with me, information with me. So, but it's not like that. I'm not gonna say anymore because I can't really think of a time where it was actually like that.
Yeah.
But I think that's something we can all improve on.
I will also say just trying to figure out what can we do next to keep growing.
Yeah.
That's the main issue that we always have. It's kind of like, oh yeah, we already did that. So it's kind of like, what can we do to step up our game and like separate ourselves from everyone else? That's the main problem.
Speaking about creativity, I met a photographer. It was last year, December. He came from Canada. And he was one of the photographers at my friend's wedding. He blew my mind. This guy is amazing. This is the first time I've actually, because I was helping him out. So this is he would take the little things in the room and just use it to take pictures. Like he took something off the Christmas tree. He told me to hold it, and the way he took the picture, it just blew my mind. Just seeing that, and that's the first time I've actually experienced, being with a photographer. Like he's very, very creative. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, can you just pick something out of this room, like a bottle? Because that's what he pretty much did. Or just pick something. He told me, hold it, just hold this right here.
All about being creative.
It was just all being creative.
I guess it's like, how do you guys feed your creativity when you take photos?
Just
a good.
Basically, when we're working together, we see something or I see it and be like, hey, what if we do this and we try to do this and we try to light it up this way? It's kind of like we just feed off each other's energy, just the way it goes.
Yeah. Also, whenever we use everything around us, just like how you stated. Like, for example, you see that tree over there?
Yeah.
We can put this tree somewhere in the middle of the room and we'll shoot right in between it. Yep. And it'll give you that perspective that we're not necessarily hiding behind something, but we're behind something. Yeah. And if you use those leaves, it'll give a nice green overcast, a green color grade on your image.
Technique.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
So there's always, you can even use like Christmas lights.
That's what he did.
Even this mirror, like you can come up with some really creative stuff with a mirror. Yeah. Even like that faucet over there, you can do all kinds of things and just put it together. It's like a recipe. Like whenever you're cooking something, if you want it to be good, you're gonna study the recipe and you're gonna follow it. You're gonna follow the recipe to get it right. But also at the same time, if you want to put your own twist on it, you may change something, from that, because you can't really have a cookie cutter approach to photography. Because if you do, either you're going to get burned out fast
or you're going to get stuck.
And I've had plenty of times where I was just stuck. Like I can't think of anything. I can't put anything together. And this is when, he'll come in and pick up the slack. So
that's where the whole trash talking comes into play.
You don't know how to do this. Let me show you how. So have you guys thought about mentoring, like, the young kids? Like, have you thought about creating some type of mentorship for kids just to keep them engaged? Because
we've talked about it several times.
We've talked about like a mentor program to kind of get, people together to shoot. Not necessarily the kids. I mean, that is a wonderful idea. I think
because photography is really expensive.
It's really expensive, and not every parent is going to be like, here's a camera, go point and shoot with it. Yeah. But what I will say is kids, they have the best eye. Yeah. I've learned even like my son, he's terrible with a camera. and he's terrible with holding the camera, and he doesn't know the technique, he doesn't know the settings. But I've just kind of like, you scroll through your kids' pictures and you're like, and you're like, hey, and I think it's just because they don't play by the regular rules.
They're not really thinking about it.
They're not limited. They're not limited by the rules of portraiture or whatever it is. They just go out and they capture whatever they see. Exactly. So whenever I'm like, hey, he's there's some really good stuff in here that I could actually I would have never thought of in a million years. So it's always good to bring the younger people on. It's always good to help out people that don't necessarily know the rules, because it teaches you something. I may be shooting and being like, I've done this for so many years, and then some young kid,
it kind of like opens your mind.
Yeah, it opens your minds up,
your
because especially in photography, you get closed-minded really quick if you allow it. So it's always good to reach out to somebody who doesn't know as much as you do, or
because you can learn from that person.
That's
why they always say, have a friend who's smart, one who asks crazy questions, and then someone who's smarter than you, and one who asks crazy questions, because the questions that you think are crazy or doesn't make sense, they actually make sense if you think about it.
Very true.
Are you both full-time photographers?
I'm not.
I'm not either.
What do you guys do on the side?
I'm a salesperson full-time, and then I do photography on the side.
All right.
And I work in the good old Texas oil fields. So
how is that with COVID and everything?
It's actually really slow It's really slow right now. A lot of the production is just not moving right now. So I'm currently unemployed. So
wow,
I'm actually taking this time to actually push my photography even further, and I'm studying more, and I'm just trying different things.
Yeah.
So it's definitely given me so much free time to do, or just to study or try new things. So I'm trying to do as much as I can, because I know they're going to be calling us back here soon. So all the projects that I want to knock out and get done, I'm trying to get done.
You should start a YouTube channel.
Did you talk about it?
No, they've been telling us about it so many times.
If I'm saying it, that's a sign. You should start because you guys you have steps. Like, this is like a cookbook of how to become a photographer, where you can use this tree, you can use this,
or even go on live sometimes. And talk
we do.
to people.
We do
go on live.
We go on live.
Yeah, on Instagram.
We do a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Yeah. Well, we used to do a lot of it, but
we've been staying kind of low key for the past couple of weeks.
With the whole COVID and everything.
It was during the whole.
It's just
sometimes. You get burned
constantly having an online presence or online footprint. It definitely takes it out of you. Yeah. So sometimes we'll shoot so much back to back. I can't shoot like him. Like he's like, I did 3 shoots today. I'm like, I'm cool.
I got 3 shoots tomorrow.
I'm cool with 1 or 2. And he's like, I still got 2 or 3 left. And I'm like, yo, I want to go lay down.
But no, I mean, if I'm saying it and people have been saying it, I think you guys should start a YouTube channel where, let's say, if I want to learn, I make wigs, right? So if I want to do something different, I know I can always go on YouTube and look for whatever I'm looking for, and I'll be able to do the style that I want to do, right? So if I want to buy a camera or whatever, I can always go on YouTube, search different photographers, look at their videos, and then find the best camera or find the cheapest camera that I can use as a starter. So I think that's something that you guys can do around, now that things are slow. You can start that.
People tell us all the time. I get people before I stop really responding to all the messages.
Yeah, he goes for a while.
You should do a YouTube channel, or you should do tutorials, and right now we're trying to set up photo walks. Yeah. So basically, what a photo walk is, we'll get photographers together. Definitely not free. And what we'll do is we'll get a model, and she'll have 2 outfits. He or she, they'll have 2 different outfits. Yeah. And for people it helps people who want to increase their workflow, or
but also network.
Network, but also add work to their portfolio. Yeah. So, and we also teach. We'll be teaching there. I'll be teaching my fundamentals of light, not necessarily somebody else's style or even the orthodox style of lighting, because some people may actually like how I light my subjects. They may like how he lights his subject. And there's two different styles out there. They may not care too much for how I do it, but they may like him. And guess what? He's there. He's willing to share that information with them. So
because it is hard to find the model. It's hard to find the location. It's like sometimes I take like anywhere from a day to 4 or 5 hours a day just to go look for locations. Because like he said, I get tired of shooting in the Pearl or like the Hay Street Bridge or downtown.
I
like,
see a lot of pictures
I'm over that. Like, so I'm trying to find ways to like, okay, what's out there? What can I find to, make it better for us or interesting or just change up the scenery?
And how do you like manage, doing all of this and still doing a full-time job?
So what I do is I kind of like based on my job schedule. Whatever days I have off, that's when I shoot. When I set up my shoots, and that's when I make time to edit. For the most part, if I'm not going to be working the whole entire day, then I wake up a little bit early just to edit. Or if I'm going to be working for like half of the day, then I edit right after on my shift.
Yeah, because it's pretty time consuming. So
yeah.
Do you have any days off?
Any
of you?
Right now, probably not.
No, not really.
When I was working, when I was working, my schedule worked. I was on 7 days and I was off 7 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for the first 7 days that I was on location and I was working, I'm thinking of concepts. I'm thinking, and my job is a lot of driving. So I'm thinking of concepts. I'm thinking of locations, times of the day. And so I know that on that Friday when I get off of work in the morning,
you already know
I already know what I want to do, and I have that 7 days off to kind of figure out, to work with his schedule too, because he works more days than I do. So
it's just crazy how it works.
Yeah.
So do you guys have any crazy story to tell, like while you're on set? You probably got something crazy happened.
Remember that
no
time?
names though, but like just something.
I was about to say, I was ready to say names.
I know.
Should I mention that story?
I do that. I forgot it. And I did mention, so that's
Or
why
the
I said
time
no
when you
names.
got like a crazy request for a crazy shoot or something that you
Or
declined.
something crazy happened on the scene. Somebody threw up on your shoe.
Yeah, something juicy.
Something out of the ordinary.
I mean, the only one that I can remember is that time when we were shooting outside on this abandoned place, and we had a 2-light set up, and so my assistant was there. It was a very windy day.
Sad day.
So I told her, hey, because like I said, we had speakers just to make sure.
Yeah.
The speaker was right here. My light was right here.
I know where this is.
And then the guy was holding the light, and we had another light, which was okay. I told her, hey, go ahead and get the speaker for me. Next thing you know, the flash just fell off because of the wind.
$700 light just
Seven.
done.
What?
Yeah.
Wait,
yeah, it's gone.
how much have you guys spent on like all the?
Do you really want to know that?
I want to know because I mean,
As well for
Yes, there is
Okay.
photographers
okay, because you have
insurance.
to get insurance for that.
Because you have a lot of expensive equipment, so you need
about
to.
$10,000
Yeah.
Oh wow.
for my stuff.
Sounds about right.
Just on mine, and he's probably did another 10.
Nah,
More
I
like
think I did
you
slightly less. Because
Okay.
the camera body that I bought when it first came out was like $3,000.
Okay.
The lenses that I use are at
not
least
cheap.
$1,000 a piece.
Yeah.
It's about $1,000 a piece, and then I have 2 lights. One was $749. The other was probably about the same. So I'm like in this $8,000 range already. That doesn't include
That's
like
pretty much 10,000.
yeah, it doesn't include
a
like the
lot.
modifiers
That's
and
close.
the light
Softwares.
stands.
Yeah.
And it doesn't include that stuff.
So you said there's insurance, right? So this is something completely different that you have to pay monthly, like how you pay for your car insurance.
Yeah, it's basically it protects you and your equipment should you be on location working. You could be doing a wedding, and some kid just maybe running and knocks over your light stand with your light attached to it. It's gonna cover that.
So at that time when that
I didn't have it.
you didn't have it,
I didn't have it. And, me being me, I was like, you know what? It wasn't your fault. It was my fault because I told you what to do. And he went and did exactly what I said. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take care of that because that was on me.
Yeah.
I should have not told you to do that. But he did it
Yeah.
anyway. So I couldn't
Following
be mad at him.
instructions.
And I still
Yeah,
work with
yeah,
him from
yeah.
time to time. He knows who he is.
Good.
okay.
Yeah, seeing that light fall down, that hurt my soul, man.
So
He
you
almost cried too.
you had to buy it.
So what happened is that
another one.
at that point, the only place that I could repair was in Dallas, and I didn't really have the time to go to Dallas. But I had pretty good credit, so what I did, I just went and got another light until I fixed the one that I had. And once I fixed it, I was like, okay, now I have 4 lights. Instead of like 2 lights.
An investment.
Wow. I would have cried.
So looking at your work, you guys do model photography. Why that? And what's your like model selection?
The reason why I started with modeling was because once again, the person that gave me the shot that allowed me to like kind of like start working on it was a model, and she was the one kind of like inspired me to like kind of always be looking to be better and create, you know, more work. So that's kind of like one of the reasons why I started with modeling. But now it's kind of like we're transitioning to doing it like other things, because modeling was like kind of like a stepping stone to it. Like, okay, we just kind of learn. We basically use the model for the looks, but we also use it to kind of like try out different locations, different kind of lighting, different kind of skill sets, editing. That's kind of like why we use that platform, just to, you know, sharpen our skills.
So I have a question. Does your location influence what kind of photos you're taking, or is it the other way around for you guys?
The location doesn't influence the outfit that the person is going to wear, and the lighting, right?
Yes.
So like the plan they have, what they have for the shoot, like.
So, because the way it works is that, like, depending on how the location look, we want to kind of like match it, like really close on the colors as far as the outfits. What would you say about that?
Sometimes whenever I'm looking and I'm browsing for a model, or it could be whatever, I always think about the outfit first. He does it kind of backwards or opposite. I look at the outfit, and then I look at the location. I look around and I see what I can use. For me, there's a rule that I didn't make it up or anything, but it's complementary colors. Yeah. So if we go to a location and I know there's mostly greens, or, you know, something in that color tone, that's how we'll base the outfit on. Yeah. You know, we'll try to use neutral colors, because throwing a model with any outfit in a certain location,
it might not work.
It's not going to work.
Yeah, it's not going to work. Yeah.
And I learned that when I first started, because I used to be like, okay, whatever, let's put this, wear this. We're going to go downtown San Antonio. Yeah. You know, and
kind of like wing it.
Yeah. So, but the photos were good, right? Don't get me wrong. The photo was good. The model was perfect. Their poses, everything was where it needed to be at. But the outfit just broke the shot. Yeah. So, the outfits will definitely, if you're not paying attention to the color and the outfit and the location, it will definitely make or break the shot, no matter how good it is.
Yeah, so we're like really, really strict when it comes to like the outfits. We like communicate that between me and him, and then between. So for instance, if the model is basically somebody that I reach out, I'll reach out to the model. I'll ask for, hey, send me the outfit just to make sure it's gonna work, and then I send it to him, and he was like, what do you think? And he was like, nah, it's not gonna work, and then we just go back and forth.
I was gonna ask that if you ask for outfit.
And what's your model selection? Because I'm trying to be a model. I'm just kidding.
Model selection.
What's the process?
For model selection, to me, it doesn't really matter, so to speak. In my situation, I guess it would just be what I'm feeling that week. Yeah. Okay. So if I'm just like, okay, I want to see if I can work with a tall model, just to see what I can create out of it. We don't discriminate.
Because
that's good.
Like anybody can work with a perfect model. Yeah. But can you work with anybody that's not an actual model and still make it look like a model is the question.
That's real.
So that's kind of like what we try to do, is like maybe this week we're like, let's do a tall person, a little bit more broad. We just try to change it up.
So I was gonna ask, how is it like working with a short person? Because I'm short. I'm like 5'1".
We'll find a way.
Can you make it look tall?
It's tough.
It's too easy.
I honestly prefer shooting with shorter people, because the way I like the way that I light my subjects, I can put my light anywhere I want, and it's not going to be in the frame, because they're already short.
Yeah, compared to a tall person, you got to really bring it up.
I'm tiny.
So whenever you shoot with somebody that's tall, you have to be mindful of how high your light's going to be. Yeah. Especially like if it's kind of breezy that day. But also,
if it's too tall, it'll fall over again.
Yeah. No, and it's just one of those. It's just one of those things
adjustments that you gotta make.
Yeah, adjustments, and you just gotta be kind of prepared for whatever comes your way, and that's all part of being a photographer. Yeah, you're gonna get put in situations where I may bounce ideas off of him, and we're both on the same page, and then the model shows up with a totally different outfit.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like we got to just work with it.
You know, now since we've gotten better, now it's okay for us to be like, hey, we're not feeling this. You know, we'll cancel a whole shoot.
Yeah.
Because
before we couldn't afford
but
that.
before we used to just be like, we'll take what we can get.
Yeah.
But now, like, as you get better and you learn, you start to realize what you like and what you like don't necessarily what you need for the shoot.
It's like it's gotten to a point where like if we had that feeling that like I'm not seeing it.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a waste of our time.
Yeah.
It's just not
You know your worth now. You
Yeah.
still buy.
So that brings me to ask this question. Are there clients that you love working with, you want them to come back, and there's just certain clients where you had a one-time experience with them and you're like, I would never do this ever again. I don't care how much
All
you
the time.
pay me.
don't mention names. Just tell us the story.
They're not
Yeah.
gonna
We've
make
had
Please mention.
we've had there's just one person. But no, we've definitely had instances where we'll do a shoot, and once everything gets together, our lights get together, and we're shooting, like I don't even have to tell him. He just knows. He's like, you're not feeling it, huh? I'm like,
Yeah, I just looked at him like
Like no, it's not working.
so the way
Yeah.
it works is like if it's really quiet, you know something's wrong.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And you know what? And we don't really have a problem with, you know, we still try our best to make the best of it, everything. But it's just if for example, we set up and we do like a sports style shoot, right?
Yeah.
And we show up to location, we pick the model. She seems like she has decent work. So we're confident that she's gonna
I remember
come
that one.
and do what she has to do. But if you show up
Yeah.
and you're not really wearing
What
the
you're supposed
athletic
to
wear,
wear?
what you're supposed to be wearing, and you know your hair is not. I don't expect your hair to be done for like a sports style shoot.
Yeah.
But I do expect
Presentable.
you to put effort into it,
Right.
Absolutely.
and to put effort into your makeup, and to put effort into how you wear your clothes, your outfit. If you don't do that, that's not going to motivate me to
take
put
your
in the
picture.
effort to
Yeah.
make a really great shot. So.
It's one of
So
those
it's a
things.
two-way thing type of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
two-way
It's
street
like
for
the
sure.
vibe.
Because we get it, we get it every once in a while. We'll get somebody who's just not cutting it, and
Sometimes we just kind of like go with the flow and then just like do the best that we can and then try to give the best.
But you've
Possible
never
work out there.
canceled based on that, right? You just,
no,
Okay.
no.
No.
What we do in that situation is we say, okay, hey, we're good. Pack everything up. We're standing by the car like, hey man, I don't think I'm gonna edit these, bro.
We
I don't-
motivate each other a little bit.
Yeah, I'm
In the
like, I
car,
don't, and sometimes if I don't, and I'll know right away too when I kind of go through it and I'm editing and I'm just like, this was not a good idea,
Yeah.
you know, and it's very unfortunate, but that's because whenever we say that, hey, this is the theme, we need you to dress like this, and this is how we want it to
Respect
go.
it.
Respect that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we're, you know, we respect you enough for
Yes.
to be out here shooting with you,
Be
and we're giving,
professional.
yeah, because we're photographers. We capture the images. We're not supposed to save the shoot.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to save the shot, and those times where we feel like we have to get involved and save the shot is one of those where we're like, I can't use them.
Yeah.
So it's just something to think about too, like especially if you're on the other side of the camera, you know, because everybody thinks that models are the, like, you know what I mean, they're the be all end all solution to a photo shoot, and sometimes that's not always the case.
No.
Sometimes you have to in order to be there's a difference between a person who likes to take pictures and a person who's trying to be a model, because they know how to dress,
Yep.
they know
Pose.
their poses,
The
they're
makeup,
really in
hair.
tune.
Yeah.
They're really in tune with their facial expressions.
Their body. Yeah.
They're really in tune with what outfits look good on them. Yes, there are plenty of people who can dress, but if you have a model that can put on an outfit and it makes them look like the way you want them to look, you're gonna have a good shoot.
Yeah.
No model is perfect. Also, we get involved. You'll see me if you ever see like the behind the scenes of the videos.
Really?
I'll be posing right along with you.
Yeah, I do post it too.
Yeah.
I would love to
I'll
see
be-
You
that.
guys that kind of help with the hair and
No,
everything.
no, no. See
No.
that? We don't.
Poses.
We don't touch
Okay.
models.
We
We don't touch
Oh,
them.
because
So,
yeah.
so what we do is,
If we can we'll try to have a female,
a third party,
or like a third party.
Got
So
you.
you guys don't do it because people get kind
Yeah,
of.
You
we
just
don't-
help them
get
with
this
the
crazy
poses.
idea.
Yeah. So, or we just say, hey, grab this
Or we just show them
flyaway.
with the phone. Be like,
Yeah, this is what.
that.
This, this is what's going on. So,
or we just fix it on Photoshop.
yeah,
That too.
yeah. I mean, we try not to do all of that extra stuff than what we have to, but sometimes there's no way around it. So, we always just emphasize, be ready. Always, look your absolute best. We're gonna do what we have to do to make it work, but it definitely helps when the model is like in tune, perfect. They have their look. They're ready to go, because we also have models that go in there and I mean they absolutely kill.
Oh, you
the
and I
shoots.
have a problem with me then.
And then we have models that we have people, even guys too, where they just lack confidence, and it shows in the photos.
Yeah.
So
So we
sometimes,
have to do something
we'll
about
have to,
it. We'll have to,
we'll
like-
have to intervene.
We got to cheer them on. Like, man, you got it. It's a great
Yeah, because some
pose.
people are nervous, like taking pictures
Yeah.
in front of other people. Like,
Yeah.
I'm one of those people. I don't know how to pose when people are looking
You're
at
one
me.
of one
I don't know
of
how to
Yes,
pose,
I know how
period.
to
Girl,
pose in
it's so
selfies
cool.
by myself. But once people are looking, I can't even.
Sometimes what happens is that like we have to show them the image because they
Good.
There's times that are like they think like they may had a bad experience with somebody else, and what we do is like, okay, this is what we have so far. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I asked them, and they're like, yeah, I like that. Okay, then we're good. If they don't like it, I'm like, what don't you like about it?
What do you
And they'll
wanna
tell me
change?
it's like this and that and that. So it's kind of like communication. all
Okay,
day.
that's
Yeah,
good.
you want to
Gotta
keep.
talk about
You
it.
definitely want to keep that communication open, especially if you've been working with the same like model over time, because those are the best ones where you have a good rapport with, because you already know he or she is going to come and they're going to absolutely, they're going to kill that shot.
Yeah.
And so you already know what to expect from them, and they already know what to expect from you as a photographer.
Or
So
sometimes when we have somebody that is new, we just ask, hey, what are some of the things that I need to watch out for?
yeah.
Just so I know
Yeah.
what I'm working with.
So for future reference, and this will help any even the ladies, even the gentlemen, whenever they shoot, that same energy that y'all be putting into these selfies, okay?
I want that.
Can't.
The same energy that
We
y'all put
can't.
into these selfies and these videos, we need that same
Yeah,
energy.
taking
We
my
can't because
picture
you guys
on
are
location.
looking. So you guys are looking
Just
hard.
play the music. Just have
Yeah.
the music rolling,
Oh, yeah.
and I'll be a petite model. So okay, when it's all said and done, what kind of legacy would you hope to have left behind?
That's a good one.
Now, a legacy that I want to leave behind. That's a good question. I would certainly like to leave behind that you were at one point in your life starting out somewhere. Okay, you were not the best. You probably will never be the best, but you do the best that you can.
Yeah.
When I first started, I had people tell me, "Oh, sell your gear. You suck. This, that, and the other."
Wow.
But
What?
yeah,
People
yeah,
like that
people
means
will tell. Yeah, people will tell you these
openly?
things openly. Yes, but like I said, the whole legacy thing. As long as you're humble, drop the egos, drop the skill sets, and just at the end of the day, if somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, can you show me how you did this shot, or can you show me how to do this, or can you mentor me?" I have no problem doing that.
That's good.
And that's the legacy that I want to leave behind for people, is just that openness, because I was never given that shot. I had to learn everything on my own. So when I tried to reach out to the original gatekeepers of photography,
Yeah.
they didn't want to help us. They didn't want to share that information. So as you grow, you realize that for those people who don't want to live by that legacy, they don't grow.
Yeah.
And eventually you blow past them. So yeah, if that's the thing, that's what I would love to leave behind, just the openness and just being humble, and anybody that is seeking that information from you, you're willing to give it.
Yeah.
You're willing to cheerfully give it. I know not everybody is like that, and the world's a different place.
That shows you're a good person, because
Yeah.
I just feel like the sky is big enough for everyone
Yeah.
to grow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
There's plenty for everyone.
How about
So
you?
what about you? Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, just want to be remembered and be able to go international, like go to different places. Just I want people to know, hey,
This is
You can do this.
This is
Yeah.
Louis,
Yeah, especially
the fly guy,
Yeah.
fly
The bow tie.
photographer,
The fly guy with the bow tie.
Oh yeah.
That rhymes.
Mr. Fly Guy.
Guy with the bow tie.
Absolutely.
So speaking of that, looking to the future, I figure in San Antonio and places like Seguin, the photography scene is like only so much you can really do here. Do you figure you could relocate to somewhere else for this?
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
we
We talked about
definitely
it a lot,
branching
too.
out because we do. I've actually did a lot of traveling this year compared to last year.
Yeah.
Excuse me, and there's always a new location. We could literally be on the road driving to California and we'll stop somewhere in New Mexico.
Yeah.
You know, and find great places to shoot. So
Really?
yeah, I mean, you
It's a
don't
lot
always
of-
have to be limited to, you know, what you have around you because.
You shouldn't be closed-minded about
Yeah,
just being
yeah.
local.
Yeah.
Like,
But amidst all this
You know?
COVID stuff, it's really hard to get around.
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially right now.
And you can't just be openly just, hey, you know, because you don't know where they've been. And
Exactly.
you got to protect your health. Everybody has family, you know, everybody goes home to somebody, you know, so it's just, you know, right now we're just kind of taking it easy.
Kind of like working on our craft.
Yeah.
And when it's time, we'll just do what we got to do. Like, we've been talking about making a trip to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Okay.
We
That's
have
gonna
a
be the
lot
next
of
one.
That's cool.
I've been doing a lot of networking there, so it's kind of like I'm just kind of like waiting for everything to settle down and then make that trip over there, and I'll probably have a couple of photo sessions set up over there. So
Okay.
we'll get in there.
That's cool.
It's just a matter of waiting.
Do you guys have any photographers you look up to as a source of inspiration?
Ooh.
Very low.
I have a few.
I've been
You have a
there.
few?
I've been there, and I admired so many photographers for a long time, and I couldn't get to that point where I felt where I was comfortable with my work because I was always comparing myself to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I ended up doing was I ended up cutting a lot of those guys loose, and I stopped following them.
Yeah.
And
Sometimes that's the best thing.
Yeah.
and that's when I experienced so much, you know, growth. So, but I have one photographer that he's just like crazy good. He doesn't live in this country though. He lives in Europe. So
Yeah.
like they have beautiful scenery there.
I was
Oh,
gonna
they're
ask
so
that.
lucky.
If let's say this great opportunity just pop up, would you guys move to
Oh, yeah.
down to the
Oh,
UK?
yeah.
You didn't have to tell me
A good-
twice.
Yes.
Really?
Oh,
We're in
yeah.
San Antonio. What are you talking about? You don't have to tell me twice.
No disrespect to
He's
San
ready.
Antonio,
Yeah,
but
but hey,
You're
you
ready.
told me, hey,
Yeah.
let's
what's
go to
up?
Germany. I'm
Let's
in.
go. Let's
What
go.
time we
there's-
leaving? What's the plane at?
I'm sure your
Really?
dream place in Europe would be Paris, probably.
I've been to
or-
Paris and I didn't
You
like
don't
it.
really care. Oh.
I didn't like it. Not me. Nothing against Paris. I
But
just
you just don't
just-
like it. So what would you?
I would
Where-
prefer going outside of France.
Outside of France.
Outside
okay.
of France.
Anywhere but France.
Anywhere but
Anywhere
France.
but Paris.
How about you?
just from what I've seen, I've done some traveling, but not really like outside of the country. But I've seen a lot of beautiful photos and work from photographers in Italy. Beautiful
Italy's amazing.
locations,
It's beautiful.
beautiful
Amalfi
buildings,
The-
nice
yeah, the
structures.
constructions and
Yeah,
structures of
yeah,
buildings,
this-
yeah.
really old, ancient.
Yeah. Oh, I like
That
that.
I
You
like
just-
scenes like that.
Yeah, it
too.
would be a
Yeah.
photographer's
Yeah.
dream.
I mean,
Yeah.
we could
Yeah.
I like
we could
quaint, like,
definitely
dainty
put
things.
so many things
Yep.
together there, and there's a lot of beautiful people there.
Oh yeah. It's
There's
beautiful.
there's a variety of people. You don't really have to be like, you know, stuck with the same, you know, groups
Yeah.
of people photographing all the time.
Yeah.
There's such a diverse group of people out there that you just have to, for me, I feel like I just have to go out
Yeah.
and just capture different features. It's not more or less the person because especially like here, you get a lot of people that are just
the
just want to
culture,
photograph
too.
hot women all day.
Yeah, that's
Hot
Yeah.
women, hot women, hot women.
Gets
And,
old.
you
That's
know,
what people are into, right?
and-
Apparently.
and
Go to Africa.
Trust me. That's gonna
Oh
be
yeah,
a trip
Africa's
too.
beautiful
It's
for
beautiful.
photography.
Yeah.
Ooh,
We
you
don't want to
guys-
be like we're selling it to you,
But-
but,
Yeah,
I know.
it is.
I've
Yeah.
seen it. I've
You
seen
can
it.
go
It's
to
amazing.
Nigeria, where
yeah.
you're from.
Yeah.
And see, and I have a lot of Nigerian fans that follow me,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Hey, you got to create a channel or something." I'm like,
Yeah, you should.
I'm like,
Because
I get
photography is also
and you know what?
booming
And
right
you
now
know
in
what? Right
Nigeria.
now, there are at least 3 or 4 Nigerian photographers that are just absolutely killing it.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, I've seen a
I'm
couple
shy
of them.
for
I'm
some.
like, and
those?
it's so
And you
amazing
love
to
it.
me because they're working with what they have.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
They don't. I never seen them have like a full production, like, strobes and lights, but they work with what they have. And
Yeah.
some of the images that I've seen, I was just like, man, we ain't even touching that.
The behind
like,
the scene photos that I've
Yeah.
seen,
Yeah.
you will not believe that,
Yeah.
that they could produce that. Yeah.
I agree.
They're putting
That's
in
being
serious
creative.
work,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of that contributes to the community, Facebook, exchanging information, and a lot of, and I know that there are some areas in Nigeria where they can't get the best equipment right away. So when I'm like, man,
How did they
this is crazy good. I'm like,
working
you did
with
this?
what you have.
Yeah, and they're just like, and they look at me and they're like, man, we love your work, and I'm like, no,
I
I
love
love
your
your
work.
work.
We're
Like,
spoiled.
like if I can, I mean, it's like sometimes I look at the setup and it's like a $50 setup.
Technical
I didn't do it.
difficulties,
Yeah,
but that's okay. It's a live show.
Yeah.
Do it.
So
Happens.
they have a $50 setup and they're making $1 million photos.
Yeah.
So it's good to see that other side of it. It's amazing to me.
Yeah.
It's always good to see other people, especially because Nigeria is not really on the map.
Yeah.
I honestly, like, as far as Nigeria went, I worked in the oil field. That's when I started meeting like a lot of Nigerians, and they're
Engineers.
and so for me, kind of derailing the train here, but for me, I was always like, yo, why are y'all so loud? But then I realized that they're very,
Yes, they are.
They like to express themselves.
Excuse me?
That's how they express themselves because
Yeah.
we've always it's conservative. If you're gonna talk to somebody,
Yes,
we're all in a
yes.
break room somewhere
Yeah.
and we're talking and. They're over there just going in like they had their
Right.
conversations, and they're like, no, that's just how we are,
Yeah.
and
Most
so that's just
Africans.
something that I have come to like accept and just come to realize
And
because
love.
because I mean I'll be chopping it up with them, man. But like I said, they do great work. I've
Yeah.
been studying. They have really beautiful landscape locations,
Yeah, they do.
and they're
Yeah.
working with what they have, and that's for me, for somebody who's like.
We have
Trying
all these
to-
strolls and lives.
Yeah,
and then,
we're
like,
trying to get somewhere, and I'm looking at these guys like, man, these guys they got maybe one or two smaller lights, and they got a whole team with them, and they're all
Yeah. It's
putting
a
this puzzle
community.
together to make it work, and I like that because we don't have that type of community here. It's like it's a dog eat dog world. Everybody's trying to get their money.
Yeah.
There's no community here. So
Yeah.
whenever I see, I'm like, man, these guys are like. They put all that ego
very
aside, and they're just
inspiring,
it's really nice to see that because
Yeah.
if my mind wasn't open, I would have never seen that
Yeah.
side of
Yeah.
it.
It's good
So
to be open minded.
yeah, and props to them.
Are you guys planning on opening a studio?
We talked about it several
Yeah.
times. We looked into it too. It's just with the whole COVID, it's been kind of hard because
Money's the
money
big,
is
Money is
it's been it's
tight.
been a little bit of an issue, and it's just finding the location whether we want to do it in Seguin
Yeah,
or we
or-
want to do it in San Antonio
or somewhere in the middle.
yeah, or we just want to buy a house
Okay.
and make it into a studio. It's kind of like that's where we've been talking about it, trying to
That
figure
makes
out
sense.
exactly what we want to do as far as in studio. For the most part, we shoot outside, so it's kind of like we don't really need a studio,
Yeah,
but it's nice to have it.
Yeah, especially on rainy days,
Yeah,
days where it's
Make it
too cold.
official.
Yeah.
yeah.
You
I agree.
know, talking about social media, let's rewind a little bit. I was going to ask, I follow your Instagram page,
do.
XOA Productions. So what is XOA exactly?
So EXO stands for. You've never heard this story, huh? I'm pretty sure.
No.
I told
So
you.
this is
I
new to
don't
you,
think
Barry.
I don't think this is new to me too. So let's go.
Great.
with
Let's
it.
He's
hear-
ready. He's like, oh
we'll all hear
yeah,
the
it's
story.
happening, right? So, I was doing photography for a while. I went into the Navy, but I got medically discharged. So at that point, I was trying to figure out what can I do in my next move. I remember I was listening to The Weeknd, and he kept saying EXO for a while, and I started looking it up, and he was like, what he meant, it was like hugs, happiness, and ecstasy. And that's why I was like, that's what I want to bring. I want to bring happiness. I want to be excited about it, and I love photography. So I was like, you know what? Instead of being typical like how everyone does it, I didn't want to go with Luis Alvarez photography because that's just so long and it sounded so cliche. So I was thinking maybe just do XO, but then I started realizing that it doesn't make sense. So why not do XO and then A, which is Alexander for my middle name.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was Alvarez.
XOA.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, you
or
threw us for a
Alvarez.
loop there.
So that's kind of like how I came with that name. And at that point, I was kind of like at my lowest point. So it's kind of like one of those things that like, I don't know if you ever follow his career, the Weeknd career. He started out like at this point, and now he's famous and big.
Yeah.
Love
That's
his
how I
voice.
look at it. I mean, like I was at this point, but now I'm getting at this point, and I'm getting bigger and bigger. So it's kind of like an inspiration. Like every time I hear it, it's like, okay, I was here. Like, you know what that song, Drake, now started from the bottom, now we're here.
Yeah.
Same thing. That's kind of like how I came up with that
It's a
name.
pretty cool story. It's
Yeah.
nice.
That's good.
Yeah.
So what advice do you guys have for anybody just starting photography as a career? Like some do's and don'ts
Just get out there.
advice.
Do it.
Yeah, just get up and shoot.
Yeah.
Oh, that's simple.
Just get up and shoot. You can go to the pawn shop, pick up the cheapest camera you can find, and just shoot.
Learn your gear. Learn your camera. Don't jump into getting the most expensive camera without knowing how to use it. Because like, what's the point of having a $5,000 camera if you don't know how to
can't
use
use
a
it,
right?
$5,000
It's
camera?
it gets too complicating.
Yeah.
So if you bite off a little bit more here, a little bit more there, it helps you. It helps you learn it. So when you move on to tools that you can actually use to get, do bigger jobs, you know how to handle that. You don't bite off more than you can chew, because you're going to be so overwhelmed so fast. A
That
lot
you're
of people
just
give
gonna
up. A
end
lot
up-
of people give
Yeah.
up. So
I started like that. I started with the cheapest camera, and I just basically focused on learning everything about that camera to a point where like I can create the most amazing images. Once I got to that, I'm transitioning to better cameras, and because you don't want to be spending so much money and you just lost. Like you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That gives you a reason to quit faster because you don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
What
So-
about for hack photographers, like at-home photographers? Do you have any tips for people who want to take pictures for the gram? Nothing
Yeah,
serious.
like
Nothing
using my
serious.
iPhone.
iPhones and just phones in general and
They're getting
cameras,
really
they're
good
closing the
with
gap.
cameras.
They're
Yeah,
closing the
they're
gap.
getting really good.
For the average consumer, it's
Yeah.
definitely closing the gap. So I mean, if you're at home and you're cranking out selfies on your phone, I think you're fine.
I say try different angles.
It gets
Okay.
what definitely
Like-
helps.
I have a
is-
tripod that I
Yeah,
use too.
what definitely
And a
helps
wireless
is
clicker.
lighting.
Yeah,
I have
lighting
one.
is big.
You ever notice that when you buy a new phone and you're in the AT&T store or you're in the Apple store, you take pictures and they all look good until you
Yeah.
get to your
Because the
bathroom.
lighting is perfect.
And you get to your bathroom and you're like, oh, this don't look like this. Like, this is not the same camera
ring light
I
works,
I
though.
came home with.
I have ring light. It works really well.
Because it
Yeah.
gives you a really good, nice, balanced lighting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Good to know.
Before we wrap up, Barry, what's your Instagram handle?
Yeah.
It's at BL_visuals
Okay.
or visions. BL_visions.
_
Yeah, I keep it pretty simple on there. There's an aesthetic that I try to keep my page. So, yeah, go ahead and check it out if you got the time.
You guys are
Nice.
amazing.
Thank
I
you
just-
guys
No,
so
their work
much.
is beautiful.
Thank
Am
you.
I allowed to be on Instagram? Look.
Well, we want to thank you guys for joining us today. It's been very exciting chatting with you guys and learning about what you
Thank
do.
you.
And, for our next guest, guys, we have Wiley, who is an IT manager at Accenture. He'll be joining us next week. Hope everyone has a great weekend.
Bye.